Do you think this should be a Christian country?
Oh, I do. I do. We were founded on God, and Democrats are taking them away, taking them out of the school.
How about reconciling separation of church and state, which we were founded on?
I don't think that's right. I do not think that's right. They should have never did that. Why would you take something as beautiful as America that we founded God on? We founded America on God. Why would you try to destroy that and take it out of the schools and try to teach our children something that's
what I mean about separation of church and state.
It shouldn't be, though. God should be, we should be able to say in Jesus' name, you know, and I don't care what religion you are, because if we unite and come together as all in one, they'll find the true God.
What? I don't know. I'm not sure why I even asked what. We should be able to say, in Jesus' name or in God we trust, which by the way is on a lot. It's a slogan, lady. It's on everything. We should be able to say it. That's what she believes means this should be a Christian nation. When people say this should be a Christian nation, they don't even know what they're talking about. What does that mean? It means we should be able to say God. You just said God. Did someone just punch you in the back of the head as soon as you said God? Anyways, who cares? Because they're also talking about ways that they're gonna protect their children from this ungodly nation, this sweep of ungodliness through our country. Let's listen talk about how they're homeschooling kids too.
You know, let's say I'm a Jewish dad and I send my Jewish daughter to school, and she's made to pray to somebody else's God. Do you see that as constitutional?
If I was the father and I didn't want her to pray to somebody else's God, I would take her out of that school.
But what if it's a public school?
I would take her out of the public school.
And then what are his options?
Homeschool.
That's simple, that's easy, who cares, whatever. Everyone's got that option, homeschool them. It's just straightforward and easy. What about that person's constitutional rights? What about that citizen's rights? What about their religion? Like I've said before, there's a superiority complex. No matter what it is, it's about me being better than you. My religion is superior to yours, so F yours. This is America. The most backwards ass thinking you could even come up with. So anyways, let's pause here for a second, because there's more behind this, but I feel like you're chomping at the bit a little bit here, Waz. What's your first thoughts on these folks?
I always get like a chuckle out of hearing people talk about this church and state stuff, because somebody who was raised Catholic, right? And you learn about the Protestant Reformation. The people in Europe, the people in England were Protestants. These people weren't Catholics, right? And so they were like, all right, like we're an offshoot of that old thing and we're doing our own thing. We have our own way of doing things. But the Pilgrims and the Puritans, they basically like were considered to be a bit of religious kooks. So that's why they were like, yo, go to America, man. Like the Protestants saw them as too radical and ridiculous. And so like when the founders were like, yo, we need the separation of church and state, they had an understanding that there was a such thing as religious fanaticism and just overdoing it. And so they were like, yo, we need to keep that out of what we do with this government in this country. And so the idea that this woman would be like, yeah, I don't like the church and state thing. Like that's exactly what these people were talking about. Like people who would put their own religion into any and everything. It's ridiculous. And then, just the idea that somebody who didn't share the same religion as you should be, shut out of public schools or access to a public education and teach their kid at home, like no matter what their job or career might be, is it's just more craziness, more to say.
You know what they'd start saying? These radical, whatever, Muslims, anyone, they're indoctrinating their children in their homes. What are they saying to them? When they emerge, what are they gonna think? What are they gonna do to us? It's gonna turn to more fear, because no matter what, that's what it is. As a matter of fact, as I was talking about this superiority complex with religions, here's some more of that. These next two clips will absolutely illustrate that. Let's watch this next one.
You come to this country, accept our beliefs, accept what we are, accept who we are, or don't come. And that's not to be mean, it's just to say, don't come here and try to change our country to your beliefs. That's what I see them trying to do. You're trying to force something down our throat that we don't want. We'll welcome you here. We'll welcome you with open arms. Come here and embrace America. But don't try to make America the Middle East. It's a dead issue to me. I don't like that. I don't approve of that.
In what way do you mean America, the Middle East? Because
they want to embrace Islam and make that more mainstream. But don't try to say that the country that is founded on Judeo-Christian beliefs can't believe those beliefs.
And is anybody saying that, though, from what you're hearing?
Anybody saying that?
Yeah.
No, but they've certainly taken religion and put in the back seat to it. It's in the back seat.
You see that simple follow-up question Sure asked him? He basically said, who? When are they saying that? And he goes, well, no, they're not saying that. His entire argument was that they're saying this. Until someone says who, he says nobody. It's just my imagination. Don't make this country the Middle East, because the Middle East is inferior to us. Their religion is inferior to ours. Don't come and tell me what we should do in our country. What does that sound like? It's no one else's country but his. It's no one else's beliefs but his. It's no one else's religion but his. Okay, one more of these. Fine, let's go to one more of these.
We have people here who are Muslim and Jewish and Catholic and Buddhist and atheist. What do we do about that if we're one nation?
Well, I don't support those religions. I do believe in my heart that Christianity is the true religion, but we do have freedom in this country that even includes to worship whoever we're going to worship. I don't agree with those other false religions, but hey, this is a free country and people can do whatever they choose to do with that.
And you like that freedom nonetheless?
Well, yes and no, because being a Christian, I don't support false gods or anything like that.
It's tough being an American and a Christian at the same time, because apparently as an American, you're supposed to be discriminatory towards everyone else. And as a Christian, you're supposed to accept it until you find your superiority complex again and go, you know what, actually, that inferior religion, it's not for me. I can't even recognize folks that believe in it. What are your last thoughts, Waz? Maybe if we jump out of this.
Yeah, when I see these homies talk, honestly, Jayar, I see people who probably had some level of internal fears about cultures and religions that they didn't understand. And honestly, a bunch of people preying on those fears and exacerbating them and fear mongering. That's what it feels like. And I can understand how somebody who grows up in, some town in Indiana and they don't know any Muslims or Sikhs or even Jewish people, and they could be, they could feel like, wow, I don't understand this. This is strange. This is scary. I can understand that they've never had any interaction with it, and a lot of people are afraid of things that they've never seen or understand. But I think the next part of it is when you have mainstream politicians, people on hate radio, people on Fox News, hate radio meaning right-wing radio, just preying upon those fears for viewership, therefore money and the things that come with that and power. This is the result of this. And this guy saying he doesn't really like the freedom that the country affords people is just hilarious, because the first thing that'll come out of these people's mouths is, I'm a freedom-loving American. That's literally the first thing you'll hear them say. The last thing that comes to my mind is that, like, I remember when religion was a personal decision. It's like, yeah, this is my God. This is what I do. Right? Like, I'm not worried about what these other people want to do. I'm on a path to righteousness or whatever, heaven or wherever the hell they're going. And that's what I'm gonna do. I don't know when it became this thing that you have to project upon every single person, thing, dog that you ever interact with.
Well, that's when it became, we need to win elections based off of it. As we talk about Dana Loesch, it's about control.